We the mafia. We the mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia.
I know who the beats in the AFC East. We gon' grind this thing out for 17 weeks, yeah. You hating on the Bills, then you way off. Talking cheap, meet us in the playoffs. Game day, you know we going off. Got your team captain shaking at the coin toss. We say mafia, I mean family to me, cause we stand with the team, best fans in the league.
Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia. Let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo, let's go be the mafia.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Undercovers cast, and we are here tonight to celebrate a fourth straight division title by your Buffalo Bills.
We mean we.
We.
Um,
I confirm it's
me
we.
and Paul, everyone in attendance.
And
Ben.
everyone watching.
Yeah. Hard fought game. They had us in the first half. Not gonna lie. We
Birth to tears in the first half, personally.
Yeah, I not many people thought that, that the result that occurred would happen. So, we're living through it right now, and unfortunately at the expense of others. AKA Connor. How you feeling, buddy?
I kind of want to feel bad, but in a way I kind of don't, and just feel like making a brag fest for the next 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, I was on fire last night.
Yeah, Jenna, you were kind of going. Meanwhile,
I was going ham.
Yeah, you really were. I mean, it was kind of. Well, I only went back and looked at it today. I couldn't last night. I was just in way too much pain. Like it was.
Yeah, with you.
It was not. It was not fun. Like there's still not many words I have to describe the amount of emotions. Like the literal 100 to 0 in a whole half.
Yeah.
But I really, really, really should have expected it when that 95-yard punt return touchdown happened.
Oh my god. When that happened, I was like, okay. Okay. Let's calm down for a second. The game's tied, but it's not done yet. I didn't want to get my hopes up, knowing that, the Dolphins could strike at any moment. It was great.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. But the minute that, punt return happened, I'm being serious. I look down for a split second. I look up to the TV, and I see Hardy just dashing backwards. I'm like, you better not take this. I'm like, you better not take this. Do not even try. And he tries. I'm like, oh, dude, please, Lord, just no. And then in the split of like 2 seconds, I'm like, you are the most purest genius on this team right now.
Well, because we thought that, he's been fumbling.
Right.
And he fumbled that one punt return versus the Chargers, which was disgusting. He learned his lesson, and it paid off for this one. Let's give credit to our special teams coverage unit. for putting up although my dad pointed out he thought that there was a illegal block in the back or something by the Bills, but
I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm giving credit to the boys, the genius Matthew
Matthew Smiler.
Smiley. You know, what a guy.
What a
So it's
guy.
not like we've been calling for his head for the past few weeks, but yeah, he helped those guys get ready for that.
Just I'm sitting here, let's kind of get in my mind. It's like, okay, we're going to celebrate, but there's 4 more weeks left for the Bills. I mean, supposedly it's 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 opponent at a time. Same thing for the Dolphins, but right now in the Bills sphere we're in right now,
Yeah,
it's
you
1
talked.
game at a time from here. But like some of my takeaways from last night, it goes back to when you actually look at the score and then you look at the final stats. It is completely different. If you look at the final stats, you would think Buffalo had won this game 40-21. You would think that.
Basically reminds me of the game last year in Miami when the Bills hit up
Mhm.
over 400 total
Right.
yards of offense. They controlled the clock, but they could not finish the game. I
Yeah,
mean,
we actually had our 12th man in that one.
yeah, the heat really helped you guys, but
Right.
you know, I was afraid that this was going to be the same result. I mean, we had a failed touchdown conversion before the half, didn't get any points, just like last year in Miami. You know, out outplaying the Dolphins defense, the Bills were able to go up and down the field, but just they couldn't convert in the red zone, had costly mistakes, interceptions, a fumble, sack fumble, strip sack. So I feared that it would be the same result. But coming out of the half, the defense was unbelievable. And if they didn't allow the Bills outscored the Dolphins 14-0 in the second half, and Dolphins only put up, I think, about maybe less than 70 yards in the second half.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh, shit,
so
I didn't know that. Wow.
yeah, Bills only allowed about 8 yards rushing and about 50 something yard passing. Yeah, uh, that was a beautiful game plan coming out of the second half by McDermott, and we've
Couldn't
criticized
give.
him a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Still one and fired yet?
Not yet, not yet. I think he's done his job in the past few weeks, to a T, actually. He's shown up in big moments.
I think I'm out of the 3 of us here, I think I'm the biggest caller for McDermott's head the entire season. I've been on it since oh geez, I have
Confirmed.
no idea. Probably, maybe the Broncos game, maybe even before that. I'm just sitting here like McDermott just has to go. Like there's no ifs. I mean, obviously at that point we're all in a dark cave, negative headspace, and the Bills only run our mental health in the city. So yeah, we're calling for his head because the expectations at that point was for most of the season for me was AFC Championship or bust. And
Not sponsored, by the way. It's not sponsored.
no sponsors, not yet. But just look at what McDermott has done the last 5+ weeks. 4 of the last 5 games Buffalo has played had been 1-score games. We're 4-0 in those games. The only blowout win was to the Cowboys. Since then, the Bills have been playing 1-score games and haven't really scored 30 since then. So we're 4-0 in that stretch in 1-score games. We're back to McDermott calling a good game plan, regrouping this team, getting this confidence back into this team, something we really haven't seen. And here are the Bills, been in the space of the underdog all year, are spurting at the right time. They're coming into their own at the right time. And I still think this team is probably looked at as underdogs at this point. But credit to McDermott, as much as some of the McDermott haters are out there, might be hard to say, but this goes to the coach and to getting his players ready for this playoff stretch that he had to start from the bye week on.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody else heard the audio of McDermott on WGR with Sal Capaccio, but I have never seen a more animated McDermott in all his years as the Bills head coach. I mean, I've seen him like explode after a win, like a good win, like for instance versus the Chiefs, but I've never heard him to the point of tears. After that game, Sale caught him at the right moment just after the game ended, and his voice was cracking when he was like, Sale was like, and like, look, he's like, look behind you, look at all Bills Mafia, like, what do you want to say to Bills Mafia? And he was just like, we love you guys, like, and his voice was cracking. Like, I've never heard him get emotional like that. So it was beautiful to see. And like, even though I've called for McDermott's head, I've criticized him, but like, don't get me wrong, I want that man to succeed so freaking bad. Like,
Same.
it's that him getting a Super Bowl is so important to me. I want to see him. Happy. I want to see him to the point of tears because we won a Super Bowl. I like. I still adore that man, no matter what, because of what he's helped the Bills come out of. As a coach, he has his flaws. Even as a person, his character, he does have his flaws, but he's honorable, and he's helped this franchise a lot. So hearing him get emotional like that, just like it gave me chills, honestly. So, props to McDermott. This was a coach induced win. He has everything to do with it for rallying the team. Sure, before the half ended, he was like to Josh, like, you can't do that, you can't throw it there, but I guess, what else do you want him to say?
Right.
Josh made his mistakes, but McDermott definitely made up for it. And Josh came back and he just went X Games demon mode. Yeah.
Oh, man. Third and 13. I mean,
Oh
that
my God.
image of the man riding on his back.
Kader Kuhu
Phase him
wanted none of
off.
that shit. He wanted
And
none
then
of it.
he did it. And then two Miami defenders right there. Josh says there's 5 yards left to gain. I'm just gonna truck every
Sorry,
single one of
Connor.
you right now.
I want to fit in some of your words, but like,
Yeah. Neither Dolphins piece of
how
that
does
shit.
that feel going up against the behemoth of a quarterback like that, who just like does not want to go down, who refuses to go down?
I could get into it. I really could, but it would take the whole show just on that one 3rd and 13 where it looked like Kader Kohu chickened out at the last second. My guy, you have got to get this man wrapped up, hit him, bring him down, stun him, do what you have to do because he's so huge. And Kohu just kind of chickens out
He
on the
backed
play.
off.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just showed a lack. I don't want to say lack of effort because obviously, I imagine Kohu might have been thinking,
I
if
don't
I
know, that
really,
it just shows me fear.
that's see, now that's what I hope it isn't, because I guarantee you, if that would have been me in his place, I would have gone right at Allen, like right for the, right around the midsection there to wrap him up to try to bring him down, because that was a 3rd and 13 that could have given the Dolphins a shot at the game again.
Right.
But it's funny, y'all say that it's, a McDermott fueled win, which you're not wrong. It is. It's a McDaniel fueled loss. I do not understand for the life of me why, when Devon Achan was ripping your entire defense to shreds again.
Well, it's because the Bills were playing single high safety and they were stacking the box. I don't understand how your passing game couldn't take off, honestly.
Yeah, and I think what also played into that was
No Jalen Waddle.
I didn't want to say it because I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, but yeah, no Jalen Waddle significantly hurt the team. Like, if you have Waddle in there along with Tyreek, obviously you're going to change the look of the offense and you're going to make people go, you're going to make defenders have to cover both of them. Because even a Waddle at 70% or even a half Waddle is better than a lot of other receivers.
Yeah.
So it's like, what you got to at least take that into consideration. And then they didn't need to because there was no Waddle in what I consider still one of the dumbest decisions Mike McDaniel or somebody has ever made. The
Yeah.
video of him walking into Hard Rock, he looked fine. I wouldn't I don't mean they should have started him. Absolutely not. But you should have made him active for a limited snap count. At least Waddle. Now Mostert, I don't know, Chan was kind of killing it, and like that clip of him putting Jordan Poyer on ice skates will live in my head rent free for the next couple of months. That was
Yeah.
about the only positive thing I could take away from the game on my own end was seeing Devon Chan absolutely destroy your backfield,
Yeah.
which
He did.
he did again. He did it in the first game too, but
He
once
did.
McDaniel either gets once he gets to the point where he has to try to come back and win a game, he I don't know if it's him. I don't know if Tua tries calling a lot of his own plays because there have been instances where Tua has straight up told Tyreek, "Hey, we're doing it this way." They do it that way, and it's a long bomb to Tyreek. But to be completely,
Tyreek wasn't even on the field for that, like some of that last drive.
yeah,
Yeah, he
So
wasn't.
he wasn't. Yeah, he got. Once I saw him, he was beat up. Like
yeah,
you
I
could.
Right.
saw it, like he was
His
in a little
ankle.
pain,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you were throwing to Chase Claypool in double coverage.
Now that
That is a big mistake, man.
I wouldn't say it was, it wasn't so much. It was both. Tua for throwing that pass, but Chase Claypool had to run the wrong route, and that really kind of screwed us. If you look at the actual breakdown of the play, all he has to do is try to hit Barrios down the middle because that was only single coverage. Barrios was pretty sure isolated. On the right side, I think Tyreek Hill was double covered, and on
Oh,
the
he was
left,
playing in that. He was playing on that
oh,
play.
maybe not Tyreek, maybe somebody else, maybe Cedric Wilson or River Craycraft, because Claypool was obviously on the left side, and then he runs that route that kind of just screwed up the whole flow. And Tua yet again just throws the dime to Taylor, or was it Taylor Rapp who got
Yep,
that last?
that's a wrap.
It was
That's a
trailer app. Yep.
that's a
He also Taylor also had a nice breakup on Tyreek, like the play before.
yeah. There were times. I mean,
He had a
you
great
know,
game.
oh yeah,
He
we
was
always,
around the ball on the Christian Benford interception too.
yeah, we I just didn't really have many words then, and I, to be honest, still don't. It just feels like McDaniel let the game get away, and his poor decision making in the second half is what killed us. But to be fair, you could feel the momentum in the game shift completely when that
Oh yeah.
95-yard punt return touchdown happened. Once that happened, I just kind of had a feeling that this was it, that
I
it
mean,
was over.
that was the longest punt return in Bills history.
See, that's what I'm
Punt
saying.
return touchdown in Bills
hmm
history. Yeah.
It seems like
Just
every game against really like elite opponents, it's happened twice now. It happened in this game, and it happened in the game against the Chiefs. There's just some ridiculously odd, fluky material that just kills our momentum. In the Chiefs game, it was that Tyreek drop that turned into a fumble that was returned for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And in this one, it was that punt return that I don't know how they still let that happen. I
Just two players really ran into each other. I mean, I watched it a few times. Honestly, it looked like a
Or was
really
it
good
Cameron
block. 'Cause I
Good
think he was. I
and
think he blocked somebody
Alec
into
Ingold?
somebody else, and just go pew.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, Cameron Good got hurt on that play too.
Yeah, he's out for the season
Yeah.
now. Yeah, sucks.
Add to the list of our injuries that
You
could
got all
literally
2 edge rush. Isn't he an edge rusher?
yes.
Yeah, you got 2 edge rushers that were hurt in that game. Jerome
Mhm.
Baker is possibly out too.
No, he
Oh,
is.
he's out? Okay,
Yep,
yeah.
him
You
and
lost
Andrew
3
Van
to
Ginkel are both out in our playoff game against the Chiefs. We literally will have to beat Patrick Mahomes and company with Christian Wilkins and Zach Seiler by themselves.
Melvin
Unless,
Ingram,
well,
Emmanuel
yeah, there's
Ogbah.
Melvin Ingram.
Who are you
There is,
guys gonna oh my god, what edge rushers do you have? You've lost 4 edge rushers. Holy
we
shit.
have two left, Ogba and Ingram. That's it.
Who won the practice squad?
I actually think Cameron Good was on there earlier in the year. He got elevated and now he's hurt. He was mostly with special teams, but
Oh boy, I gotta look at
y'all
this.
y'all gotta hear this. So I just happened to see a tweet. So Reed Ferguson, your long snapper,
My goat.
Mhm.
has tweeted out, I watched this video no less than 500 times since the game ended, and it was the 95-yard return touchdown. His brother and the real GOAT, Blake Ferguson, retweeted it and said, I'm returning your birthday present. I love
Oh
Blake.
man,
Blake is incredible.
that's funny.
Yeah,
He's
but
they're great. I love them both.
Yeah, so you guys don't have any edge rushers at the moment.
Nope,
I mean, you got
not.
Melvin Ingram, who you can elevate from the practice squad,
He's already
unlimited
been
time.
elevated. Hmm.
No playoffs. You can bring him up unlimited.
Yeah, well, he's already in. Like it's a for sure deal.
Yeah, Quinton
has
Bell.
to.
He's a linebacker. I mean, I don't know if he's like edge rusher type.
Either
Um,
way, there's going to be a lot of elevations,
yeah, I
and
mean, you probably got some 3 techs in here too.
this
I
is
mean, elevate
this
the
is.
entire practice squad at this point.
I
I
know
mean,
you're.
we
Yeah,
have to play our entire practice squad
you're
at
gonna
this
have to
point.
find some guys off the. I bet that you guys are probably bringing in Justin Houston.
Maybe. I know what I'd
What
rather
about
do.
JPP?
He was already here.
Can you bring him back?
I don't think the team wants to bring him back.
Huh.
After watching Hard Knocks and watching how he kind of melded with the team, or rather didn't, and then got promptly released, I think he did not fit the culture at all.
Okay.
I mean, this is probably not going to happen, but my dream. Let's see if we can bring J.J. Watt out of retirement, put him right up on the defensive line. If he's got any gas left in the tank, oh man,
EBS
Think he
bias,
wants to
maybe.
stay on. Think he wants to stay on his couch.
that'd be the greatest thing ever, though. I mean, and then my fans, we've been talking about Cameron bringing back Cameron Wake, and that's just hilarious too. Like
How old
we
is
are,
he?
I don't remember, but he's up there. Like we're that down bad that we're actually thinking like, can we suit up Cameron Wake? And to be fair though, it's at what point do you go? At what point is it the injuries with them mounting up so much? At what point do you have to question this training staff? Like,
Yeah, he's 41, by the way, Cameron Wake. If you still on him,
oh yeah, he could 100% play again. Let's suit him up. But in all seriousness, it just you have to question the coaching staff. Not like the main coaching staff, even though
The
because
strength and conditioning coaches.
exactly. Now that's the guy that needs to be fired when the season's over. And that's the only guy I'll ever say needs to be fired off of this team because I have a lot of praise for Vic Fangio now. I mean, he got his piece back in Jalen Ramsey. Yes, I know he got smoked by Stephon. Thank you, Josh, for arm punting
Oh
that
my
ball.
god. If he fucking hit that,
It would have been.
golly. That would be
S-
all
That
over
would have been
Twitter.
game over,
But he
seal
cooked
signed and
him on
delivered.
that.
To
Yeah,
be
he
com-
cooked him.
to be completely fair, there are 2 passes that if Tyreek catches, it's game over too. So
True.
Yeah, of
we
course.
can go both ways on this.
Yeah.
But I think just my biggest gripe about this is were they really that desperate for the AFC East? Did you want it that little? Were you thinking why play the Bills again when you could play Kansas City, who
I don't
is
know. I don't
considerably weaker in terms of just overall team?
which is like why wouldn't you want to try to play the Bills again
And
with
it's
Waddle
not
and
just
Mostert?
exactly, and it's not just that, it's pride. You haven't won the AFC East in 15 years. Why are you not actively
16.
trying? You had to do that, Jenna. Why? Don't.
Better look next time.
Oh, I see how it is.
That just like inserted long monologue into let's
Like she just had to like.
like better like
I
next
just had
time.
to. I had to correct you on that.
Oh yeah, she just had to stick. She just had to take the dagger and just go again. But as I was saying before she stuck me again, at you haven't won the division in that long. Who cares if you have to play Buffalo again in the first round of the playoffs? Who legitimately cares? You're playing them in Miami again. You would have been playing at 1 o'clock, so depending on the weather, you might have had your 12th man again.
It would have been at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
you would have probably had, if the weather was good, you would have had the sun. And then to this point now, you've got to go all the way out to Kansas City, where it's going to be like 10 degrees.
It's gonna be 10 degrees. There's going to be 17-mile-per-hour wind, and it's going to feel like negatives.
You know what? You know what I was thinking earlier today, though. That
Tyreek's fingers might fall off. Well, I mean, he's played down there before, but like
I was gonna say, I'm not. It's
Yeah.
not Tyreek I'm thinking about, but it's more along the lines of if the wind is that hard and that fast, at what point do the quarterbacks on both sides just go, "We can't throw the ball in these conditions," and they have to resort to their run games?
yeah.
If that
And-
honestly,
happens,
You know,
that
Mahomes,
happens, oh man,
and no matter like even if it's Mahomes, he doesn't trust his receivers other than Rasheed Rice or Justin Watson and Travis Kelsey. So I don't know.
it's
I
gonna be a
see
game.
old school backyard football in
It's
KC.
gonna be
Just run the
Achan and
football.
Pacheco.
Oh, and
Yeah, I
give me H-Chan
honestly
every
think
Mostert.
day of the week. Every day of the week, give me a Chan over Pacheco. Just that's kind of I hope that's realistically not what the Dolphins brass was thinking in that game, but at the end of the day, one playoff win makes the whole pain of losing the division go away. And I'm sure you guys would love it too. I know y'all hate Kansas City, so
The thing is, we want to knock them off ourselves at home.
good luck with that. We're going to take care of them for you.
I
But,
mean,
there's a lot of things, don't keep thinking about knocking Kansas City off. Not right now, anyway. Because the minute you start doing that, Pittsburgh's going to walk into your house and punch you right in
right.
the mouth because you're thinking too much of Kansas City.
Yeah.
Unironically, Pittsburgh's done that to teams in the past. Looked past Jacksonville to New England. Jacksonville punched him in the mouth. Looked past Cleveland to Kansas City in 21. Cleveland punched him in the mouth. I'd hate for your first round game to be one where you're looking to beat Kansas City and Pittsburgh punches you in the mouth.
Yeah,
which
because Kansas City and the Dolphins. Fuck. I wish that Kansas City and the Dolphins played after the Bills. Man, they played before
that's
the Bills, but they're probably not going to pay attention to that.
they shouldn't.
No,
It's
they
going to be
shouldn't.
so close to the game. Like you're going to be going to bed like
Hmm.
around that time, and you're probably going to wake up and like have to prepare for the game.
Hmm.
So, I
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you can't be thinking about other games, especially when you've got so much on the line with yours.
yeah,
And I know we'll wind up discussing it later, but you have a lot of interesting matchups should we take out Kansas City for you, or heaven forbid, Pittsburgh takes you out in what would probably be the playoff upset of a lifetime. Well, maybe not a lifetime. 2007 still happened, but
You know who needs to have a big game in the Bills playoff game against the Steelers? Not Gabe Davis, because Gabe Davis just
he's
rest your
probably
knee.
going to be
Just
out.
please. Just rest your knee. Shakir, who also had a somewhat of a
Mhm.
powerful game against the Steelers last year when we made the Steelers look like a JV team. But Shakir also had a really good game last night. Oh, he catched 6 of his 6 targets. He had he had, I think, like 103 yards in that game, and he had the most yards among receivers. To know that Shakir has 3 90 plus yard games, and he has caught 15 of his 16 targets. But now note, Gabe has 4 90 plus yards games, but he's only caught 66% of his targets of those games. Gabe Davis has more games with 0 yards or more, had zero more. He has games of zero, has more games of having 0 yards than game that he has 90 plus yards. So he's just hurt this team on offense more than anything this year. And Shakir has stepped up in his role. And I think Shakir needs to have a more prominent role in the offense against the Steelers in order for the Bills to elevate their offense. And I think he was the missing piece yesterday. I
Yeah,
think we're trying to scheme more around Diggs Davis. We should start scheming around Diggs and Shakir and Kincaid. And I think the offense will open wide open for the Bills.
yeah, for sure. Um, how about we start talking about some other narratives in the NFL? Uh,
uh-oh.
there's a very prominent player who has likely taken his last snaps, has likely taken his last snaps in his city. Derrick Henry. He's been with the Titans for about 8 seasons, and he said his final goodbye, which was very depressing because we all love Derrick Henry. He's a beast, and to see him in any other uniform than a Tennessee Titans uniform is just like it would be so freaking weird. So, how about we have a clip of Derrick Henry saying his goodbyes to the Tighten Up crowd. Here, I'll show you guys.
For the greatest 8 years of my life, the ups and the downs. Y'all been there for everything through the adversity. Watch me grow as a person and a player. Always supporting me. I love y'all. I love seeing the citizens in the stadium. Hopefully, I was an inspiration to all the young kids and everybody in the community. Just thank y'all so much. Man, God is good. And tighten up, baby. Nothing left to be said. Ladies and gentlemen, Derrick Henry, the king.
That was probably terrible audio right there, but sorry about that. But
Yeah,
where can you see
blame
Derrick
me.
Henry?
I did that right before the show. Wasn't
You,
expecting it to be
you got to
that
make sure
bad
that you turn
audio.
your volume up for that. But it's okay.
It was up.
Oh,
No, blame Premiere, not me.
yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, um, Where do you guys think Derrick Henry is going to go this
I
offseason?
think he wants to go to a contender. I mean, obviously, there's plenty. To choose from. I'm just thinking, team that just randomly just popped in my brain was the Detroit Lions. I don't
Hmm.
know. They have Jahmyr Gibbs. I just remember that they have Jahmyr Gibbs. They have Montgomery, but I don't know. If that was the first theme that popped in my mind, I have no idea why. But
Well,
like
probably because they are a
the
contender.
vibe,
Yeah. Yeah.
the vibe of Detroit and the vibe of Tennessee kind of
Yeah.
fit.
They mesh. Yeah. I get that.
Houston,
I
maybe.
could see him
Eh.
going to shoot. I mean, the Eagles,
How
they
about
got DeAndre
Philly?
Swift. Philly, yeah, the Eagles, they got DeAndre Swift. I don't know how. I mean, they were rumored to trade for him before
True.
the trade deadline. I think even before the season. Um, around the draft, I believe. So, why not? They do have DeAndre Swift. I don't know how many years he has left on his contract, whether it was a 1-year deal. I mean, if he was traded to the Eagles, then there must have been a couple other years left on that deal, but who knows if Derrick Henry is not looking to be the number one back. I think the Eagles would be a nice team for him to go to. They do value that run game outside of Jalen Hurts, and that offensive line is always opening things up in the run game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Eagles. Um, Even another team, Kansas City. I
Oh,
I feel like he could go to Kansas City too. And they got Isaiah Pacheco,
yeah,
but
true.
you know, I think that they're looking for another they're looking for a 1-2 punch. Um
They are.
I mean, who knows how they're probably not gonna I mean, I think they have to give Clyde Edwards-Helaire his 5th-year option or something like that. Who knows if they want to resign him for that or
Ooh,
give him
I think
another
they
year.
would just think of a Pacheco Henry backfield. That
Yeah.
would be.
They
I
would
mean,
be calling him King
for the
Henry
Chiefs, it would be
for
great.
Chiefs
For every
Kingdom.
other team to defend that, no.
Yeah.
But just in a KC mind, it would work. It would take the load off Mahomes. It would take the load off Kelsey, who's their aging tight end. They really don't have any good receivers. If they don't feel like spending money on a receiver, why not go with a 1-2 punch in the backfield? Just reduce how many times you pass and just run the football with Pacheco and Henry because you have the offensive line to do it. So why not?
Yeah. I think those two teams would be good options. I can't really think of any other teams that would probably benefit from Derrick Henry edition. Um, yeah.
Maybe if you asked this question um 6 months ago, the Bills and Dolphins would have both been on that list.
Yeah, most
Oh,
definitely.
most likely. Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, we tried. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
we tried. I don't know if the Bills tried to
I
get
think they
Derrick
might have
Henry,
dabbled in that market.
but we dabbled in him. We dabbled in Jonathan Taylor. We dabbled in Saquon Barkley, and then Raheem Mostert just proves everybody wrong.
I feel like that was
So
so long ago.
it was
Yeah.
because
It
that
feels like
was
it was-
then Raheem Mostert decides he's gonna have a 21 touchdown season,
Yeah.
which is tied for the most by not Josh Allen in the league.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he and Raheem Mostert tied in the
Mhm.
touchdown category. But so if you want my opinion right now on where he goes, Chiefs would be a nightmare. But that would also, with how the Chiefs look right now, if they didn't ever get another receiver and they primarily put the game on Derrick Henry's shoulders, that could make for a very interesting run first style offense for Kansas City, which you wouldn't expect with
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey.
Yeah.
But
And I don't know. I don't know if they would do that.
but when your
I
wide
think they would.
receivers, yeah,
You think
I
so?
think they would too.
I
Their wide
would.
receivers just have hands of stone. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing you have to do is go out and get some receivers, draft some receivers.
Yeah,
They
because you're not signing T. Higgins. Like,
no.
I don't think you're signing T. Higgins if you're Kansas
We
City.
have no money for that, personally.
Yeah, y'all aren't either, so don't worry
Yeah.
about it. I mean,
But
Khalil Shakir is your wide receiver too anyway. Deal with it. You're not drafting
Yeah.
Keon
Henry
Coleman.
Henry to the Chiefs, my own personal bias aside, works for the Chiefs. Because, like I just said, I don't think the Chiefs are in or actively searching to expand their wide receiver room. Maybe a little bit to try to get an extra wide receiver with Rice, but I really feel like the Chiefs really want a Mahomes Kelsey running back system. They want to rely on those. And then the receivers come secondary. And it's kind of maybe shown a little bit this year, but it just hasn't worked to Andy Reid's liking. So, like, I really feel like that's kind of where the Chiefs kind of want to go to. They kind of want to shift off from being maybe receiver reliant to running the football and just throwing the Kelsey and then maybe receivers sprinkle in here and there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think after winning 2 Super Bowls, you kind of, maybe want to like not change things up a little bit, but sprinkle in some nuances to the offense cuz you've already had so much success. You're going to Travis Kelsey is probably on his last leg for the next couple years. So you want to get some new blood as far as receivers, and then get a nice veteran running back to just add to that backfield for sure. Um,
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good suggestion. I mean, Kansas City would be good. Detroit would be good. I mean, there's a lot of teams I think would actually really benefit from, and then like we said earlier, Philadelphia, that would be a monster addition to their backfield. Not
What
only are
about
you
the
having
Rams?
the Rams, no.
ooh,
I
Throwing
that's
that
don't
out
that's
there.
a sneaky
I
good
don't
pick.
I don't see it
Keep
happening, to be
they
completely
they want to
honest.
keep Sean McVay around, right? So they
Yes,
want to keep Sean McVay around, and it's LA, and the Rams seem like they want to spend more than the Chargers, and they don't want to be the young brothers of the Chargers. So why not try to hit another home run with trying to get Derrick Henry? I mean, they did it before. They did it before with their genius GM with draft picks and salary cap. I don't know how, and they won a Super Bowl. So they really don't have a
cap
running
is
back.
fake,
I mean, yeah, they have Kyron Williams.
and
Keep
he's really
forgetting.
good. He's really,
And
really good.
Yeah, he
That's
is.
why I can't
what
see
about
Derrick Henry going there. Like,
yeah, I just keep
that's
remembering just the Lions through my mind and the Rams popped in my mind and like my other side of my brain goes,
I
no,
know
there's
it's a
running
long
backs there.
shot. I know it's a really big long shot considering that the team's kind of meh in general. Derrick Henry to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Imagine this, okay? You got Baker Mayfield
Mm-hmm.
getting a safety valve in Derrick
Mm.
Henry so he doesn't have to consistently keep chucking the ball deep to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin the whole time. I
Mhm.
He
think
needs some new ribs personally too. Sorry.
oh, well, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Paul. He kinda does need new ribs. I think that's his, like, what, 2nd rib injury in, like, just a
I
couple of years. He got
feel like
injured.
this is like his third year. It's just I don't know. That's what the vibes of Baker Mayfield gives me. Like he always just wants to crack his ribs. But back to your Derrick Henry point, just a
God, Paul,
random
Ben's
thought.
not here. You know how much he loves Baker, and you start breaking his heart already. But, but no, in all seriousness, that would actually be an interesting fit, I think. You know, give Baker a bit of a safety valve. But,
Right.
guys, I
What?
don't know if you have seen this is kind of a bit of breaking news, but
How
y'all
big is
know
it?
that the Carolina Panthers fired everybody. They've
What?
Well, I know that they got rid of Frank Reich, right?
they fired
And
the
their
GM
GM.
too.
Oh.
Are they
Yes.
firing more people?
No.
Why are
They're
they doing Come on. You got to get your I mean, the GM needs to make some moves. So I understand, like, and he hasn't really done very much to help Bryce Young, even if it's his first season. But yeah, they gotta get an offensive line.
They
They
got to
gotta
get
get some.
everything.
They gotta get some better
I think they made a
receivers.
mistake in firing Frank Wright personally in his first season. Like
I think so
he
too.
had nothing to do. Well, he had
Right.
some,
He's
but
a
he had a
good ass
rookie
coach.
quarterback, a bad offensive line.
Mhm.
Receivers really didn't show up. No
They
running
had
back.
any?
There's no help. Their defense is dog doo doo
Yeah.
ish.
But so the Panthers have announced 9 coaches that they want to interview for the job. And one of
Scandor's one
them,
of them.
who?
This
Just
thought
just
of
say it.
Dorsey.
Oh, I
Just
was
say
gonna say, but anyway, obviously we got Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. He'll get a top coaching job. That's out of the question. Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick.
Yeah.
Slowick. I don't know how you
Like,
pronounce that. That's impressive. I think
Right.
like one of his first years in Houston, and he's already getting a head coaching interview. That's amazing. I'm gonna skip
Really
this one.
nice.
Save this one for last. This one's huge. But Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan is a very interesting choice. They look great with Burrow out there, and they looked great with Jake Browning out there. I
yeah.
think that's a solid hire, or would be. Buccaneers offensive coordinator Dave Canales is interesting.
Okay.
Here's another one that's kind of popped up. Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. It's like the
Okay.
fifth. It's like the fifth time he's been around.
Yeah.
So I mean that
Right.
maybe this is his time. Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald. That would be huge. Get him
Yeah.
away from there with how
Okay.
good that Ravens defense is.
Mhm.
Man, here's another frequent flyer, it seems, in the coaching search. Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn,
Ooh.
who
Yeah.
was that close to being the Dolphins head coach. And then Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. That's insane
Damn.
too. That is his first year,
Yeah.
and he's getting a
There's
he's getting a head coaching interview. But
3 of the 9 are in their first
Oh
year.
my God. Can we let Connor
I
finish it?
I saved one for
Right.
last
Yeah. Cause
because my eyes lit up with this one. You ready? Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith.
Oh. Yeah.
This this is a bit of a pipe dream. And I wouldn't do this unless you were guaranteed it would work. And the odds it works are so low that it's almost never going to happen, but just take a listen, right? Say Frank Smith gets a coaching job somewhere, like Carolina or anywhere, maybe Washington or just anywhere. Say Jim Harbaugh decides he wants to come back to the NFL. What if in a wild scenario, Frank Smith leaves, the Dolphins demote Mike McDaniel to offensive coordinator, and Jim Harbaugh becomes the head coach?
That's an alternate reality.
That is an alternate reality, but the reason that it just seems like it wouldn't be so out of the question is because of Stephen Ross's ties to Jim Harbaugh and how he already tried to bring Jim Harbaugh to Miami. That was
But
before.
I don't think Mike McDaniel wants to get demoted.
I don't think he does either. And to be completely transparent, he doesn't deserve to be demoted. The only thing that he would ever need to work on is his management, with players, um, time management with the clock, challenges, all of the main integral pieces to being a head coach because he's such a great play caller. It's incredible how much of a genius he is on the offensive side of the ball. If that was his only responsibility and you allowed somebody who had the experience like Harbaugh to coordinate the team, rally them around him, put like maybe not like put the fear of God into him because he doesn't need that again. We already saw what happened the first time that happened. But it's such a pipe dream, but it'll never happen and I don't really want it to happen. But knowing this franchise and just how dumb they've been with decisions, it's something that just crossed my mind and will not leave. Because there's just something in me that thinks Steve Ross wants to get his boy into Miami by some freakish circumstance. It just seems like that's like what he wants, even at Mike McDaniel's expense, which would be a mistake because Mike McDaniel has brought some culture to the team, which has been desperately needed. But that was all I really had to say about that. It's just nice to see Frank Smith getting a little bit of recognition, because most people think Mike
Mhm.
McDaniel is designing the offense. He is, but Frank Smith has his input. He's
Yeah,
had his
sure.
input now for 2 years. So it's
Mhm.
not entirely, it's mostly McDaniel, but Frank Smith is good enough
Yeah,
to get a head coaching job elsewhere. And
and it's kind of like the Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy
Mhm.
situation.
exactly, Andy Reid was such a tactical genius and made Eric Bieniemy, look really good. And then look at what happened when Eric Bieniemy left.
And yeah, and it looks a lot different in Kansas City.
hmm The whole entire offense just looks actually kind of looks flat. Of course, no Eric Bieniemy, no real number one receiver because you kind of traded him to
Mhm.
us. Thank you, Chiefs. But it's kind of incredible, really, to think about just how well an offensive coordinator can make a team look. And it's actually it leaves the question, how different would the Dolphins offense look under a different offensive coordinator than Frank Smith?
Does Mike McDaniels have some sort of input in the offensive game plan? Because I would think Mike McDaniels, who is an offensive guru of himself, I think he would. I think it would be fine, honestly, if Frank Smith, decided to go for a coaching hire, and I think the offense would still run the same, maybe just a few little, fancy little plays because Mac McDaniels seems like he likes doing stuff like that. But I think the offense in Miami, I think, would either be the same or Mike McDaniels might actually elevate it in a way because he has full reins of the offense in Miami.
He
Mhm.
has quite a bit of it. He does call plays. Like you could see it on the sideline. You could especially see it on Hard Knocks. He does call some of the plays on the offensive side of the ball. And a lot of the times, he has some great play designs. Of
Mhm.
course, yeah, there's some really cute plays that don't work, like that Devon Chan pass last night. I don't know what he was thinking with this, but he did. And there's just a few differing things that I think McDaniel will learn as time goes on. But what he needs to be right now is that guy that rallies the team. They just got beat so bad. I know the score doesn't really show just how badly the team got beat up on the field that night. The score does not show 21-14, but
Yeah,
in reality, it felt like 59-10.
it
Like
really did.
Yeah. Man,
All right.
so many missed opportunities, but
on
we have
both
to,
sides.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But we gotta
Definitely
get to
game
our game
picks.
picks
Ooh, the
uh
fun part.
now. Yeah, get these out of the way. And plus,
Fun part.
the national championship is on right now, so
I
we're all
thought it
gonna wanna.
started at 8,
I
and
did too.
I mean, it
I
said
get a
7:30, but
notification. I'm like, huh?
yeah, I believe it's on right now, but
All
yeah,
right.
some people are probably gonna wanna watch that. Um,
All right. So
so
let's get to our first game pick of the afternoon. Afternoon, sorry,
evening,
evening.
Oh
evening.
my God,
uh,
Paul.
the records are below. Jenna, in order for you to really catch up, you need me and Ben to go 0-6 this week. And you just need to go
Ooh.
6-0. Easy tax, isn't it? First one would be maybe the two Cinderellas of this season.
Mhm.
Joe Flacco and the Browns
Joe
going on the
Flacco.
road to CJ Stroud and an up and coming GOAT in Houston.
Yeah. I'm taking Cleveland in this matchup. You got a really good defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz going against a rookie quarterback. Um, I know that CJ didn't play in their one matchup in against the Texans, but I still think that he's going to get in his head a little bit. And Joe Flacco in that offense, um, I think that they could probably run on that Houston defense the same way that Jonathan Taylor was carving up the Houston defense last week.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, Jenna. To that end, I've seen this movie in the past. I feel like it's going to be the same scenario this time around too. I think CJ Stroud is going to get onto the field for a playoff game, and as a rookie, it's going to turn into the no, get those lights off, turn them off. And it's going to be just like what happened with Lamar Jackson a few years ago in his rookie debut in the playoffs. Cleveland wins specifically because Stroud fails to deliver in the big time in his first time in the playoffs. And believe me, I'd rather it not be that way. I can't stand, the whole. I would love for Houston to get some good old fashioned revenge on Cleveland for the whole Deshaun Watson bit.
Mhm.
I just don't see it happening unless Stroud proves us all wrong again. I think Cleveland is going to win the game, and they're going to set themselves up against Buffalo in the second round. But we'll get to that.
I'm taking the Houston story. I followed it all year, enjoy it. I'm really kind of buying into this Houston upset, scenario type thing. I don't want anything to do with Houston against the Bills, but I want Houston to succeed. I want Houston to win a playoff game, and I think the only way I see the Cleveland Browns beating Houston is if Houston's defense doesn't show up, and they have several times given up big plays. They've been blown out a few times, not because of CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is so super clutch in the big time moment. Their defense hasn't shown up and sometimes just wets the bed. And that's where I think Cleveland has the chance of, going into Houston and just laying a goose egg on them and sending the Houston faithful home sad. But I think Houston wins this game. CJ Stroud is going to show up in his first playoff game because he likes the big time stage because he did it last week in prime time. All right, maybe the next rendition of the Ice Bowl. Miami going on the road to Kansas City. This
I'll let
is
I'll
going to
let
be interesting.
I'll let y'all go first.
Okay.
I'm taking Kansas City in this one. It's going to be single digits with wind chill. Um, I I get that the Chiefs are a vulnerable team, but they're still in their home stadium, and Tua has never played a snap at Arrowhead. Um, with that loud crowd and him focusing on his cold little fingers, I just I really there and all the injuries that they have. I know Waddle and Mostert are going to be back, but that defense is decimated. I just I don't think that the Dolphins could survive uh, past the Chiefs in this one.
Hater.
I'm going to go Kansas City too. Not
Y'all are
because
haters.
I don't want because the matchup between Buffalo and Kansas City under the Sunday night lights next week would be awesome. It would be the wonderful dream scenario for me, but in football, you're going to need a defense to stop the other opponent's offense. And there's so many injuries with Miami and that defense. We talked about it. They're literally down to their final two uh, depth players on the edge. I don't think they have enough players to stop Isaiah Pacheco in the run because this game is going to turn into a Pacheco versus Achan track meet, and whoever can run the football better than the other team is going to win this game. And I think the Chiefs will have that upper hand because of so many injuries on the Miami defense. Give me the Chiefs. I still think it's going to be a close, low-scoring, boring game on Peacock, but the Chiefs will win.
Well, here's where the guts come in. This is where I am putting on the full guts display. So let me ask y'all how James Cook felt about that run defense. And I guarantee you, James Cook is a better running back than Isaiah Pacheco. James Cook got nowhere. Even with the injuries mounting up, no Andrew Van Ginkel, no Jerome Baker. It was still a matchup because they stopped James Cook in his tracks. Allen won.
All those injuries came at the end of the game.
I know, but at the end of the day,
And that's
even
when Josh
without,
Allen started using his legs.
yeah,
I
that's
know it's
Josh
Josh
Allen.
Allen. I know it's Josh Allen. But
That's Josh Allen.
Isaiah
Total
Pacheco
freak.
is a damn good running back.
Yes, he is, but he's not better than James Cook. James Cook still got held quite a bit. The way I see it is this is going to be a game that will predominantly feature, like we've said, Isaiah Pacheco against Devon Chan. I'm going to take a Chan in that matchup, but what I really think is going to be the true difference maker in this matchup is Tyreek Hill. He is home in Kansas City again for the first time since leaving them. This is what he's wanted all season long. He's got something he wants to prove to the Kansas City faithful. I have a good feeling that even with Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert back, I feel like this is going to be a display. Tua's going to toss a couple of long bombs to Tyreek just to get that Kansas City crowd with their heads behind their head like this, like you see all the other sports fans do. And I think at the end of the day, it'll be enough. Miami takes down Kansas City at home. We move on to win our first playoff game in like 20 something years. No, actually, yeah, around 20 something years. And the pain of last night is forgotten. So
Okay.
it's going to be bold. And I know it's probably going to be a little biased, but I just have faith. You know, they got
I've
shellacked by
always had faith.
Buffalo. They got shellacked by Buffalo. Tyreek Hill was so mad at the end of the game that he didn't even shake hands with anybody in Buffalo. He just saw Tua throw the pick and just ran off to the
Why did
locker
he
room.
desert his quarterback like that?
That's a good question. I don't even know. But all I could hope is that it wasn't for I don't think it was for the reason that, he deserted Tua. It was more I'm hoping it's more along the lines of he's just mad. He's mad
Yeah.
and he's fired up. And if that's the case and the whole team gets mad, it might get out of hand in the way people don't expect. So I'm taking Miami
Right.
in the most non in the most realistic, not Miami fan driven way possible.
All right.
Hi,
Oh,
Josh.
welcome.
Mhm.
Oh, welcome, Josh. It matches my shirt.
Mm.
Let's go to the homecoming match for Matthew Stafford. He will come home to Detroit and will face Detroit in the playoffs, which Detroit hasn't had a home playoff game in almost 30 years. And they have to face the old quarterback who couldn't get it done in Detroit. Who wins?
I'm taking Detroit, just because they're at home. I think that you could also give the same argument for Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit and wanting to show Detroit what they, you know, show Detroit for what they couldn't accomplish. But this is Detroit's first home playoff game in eons. I think that they're gonna get this one.
It's going to be a really fun game. I just got a great feeling that this is going to be an exciting game. Matthew
Mhm.
Stafford against his former team, but Jared Goff against his former team, the team that drafted him number 1 overall. this is going to be an exciting, exciting game.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's Sunday night football. This is going to be such a beautiful game. And I got to be honest, I think that Matthew Stafford is about to unleash all those years of anger
You
and
know, yeah,
hate
that's a good
and
point. That's a good point.
rage on the Lions, and the Rams are going to take that win. It's not only that, too. Sam Laporta is questionable for the game, and I don't think they'd be crazy to try to rush him back. I think
Right.
I don't remember what his injury was. I think it had something to do with like a
Me?
something in his knee,
I
maybe.
think it was LCL.
Yeah, you can't rush that. Like
Yeah.
there's unless it's like so minor that it was like just rest and you'll be fine. You can't rush that. You have got to let him rest and pray you win this game without him.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I'm kind of leaning towards the Rams. You got Aaron Donald on that field, man. Aaron
Yeah.
Donald is a defensive
Yeah.
freak. He is going to probably be what changes the game. Whenever you play the Rams, you can't count out Aaron Donald. I'm taking the
No.
Rams.
Give me the Lions.
Ooh.
And again, another feel good story for me. Their first playoff game in a long time. These fans really, really, really want it. They want it so bad that they also have to see the former quarterback that they had that couldn't get it done in their own stadium to do it again. Dan Campbell is going to have this team ready to go with Sam Laporta or without him. The offensive line, might have some trouble, maybe not a lot of trouble with Aaron Donald, who likes to show up big time in the playoffs. But I think with Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, Ross St. Brown, they have enough to beat the Lions at home. They have a 12th man that are going to be loud. Give me the Lions. It might be close, but the Lions will squeak it out and they will get the W. All right. Let's head over to Dallas, who sometimes in the playoffs forget the rules of football.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
8-0. They're 8-0 at home this season. Do they go 9-0?
Let me start this one off. I gotta.
Go for it.
Let me. If you think the NFL is rigged, you have all the proof in the world looking at almost every one of these playoff games. Browns at Texans. This game, Mike McCarthy coming back to his former team that he coached for eons. Tyreek
Okay.
Hill going back to Kansas City. Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff against their old teams. But this is one of those games where Green Bay actually looks really good as of late. I know the record doesn't necessarily show elite, but they are a quarterback factory. Jordan
Yeah.
Love in the last few weeks has looked like a top player. And to be fair, if he would have started this maybe maybe a month or so sooner, who knows? Jordan Love might be in the MVP conversation right now. Maybe, maybe not. At the moment, though, he's not. But I think that this is going to be one of those games where Green Bay gets off to a strong start. Dallas mounts a furious comeback, and Jordan Love channels his inner Aaron Rodgers and beats them at home. I am taking the Packers. Go Pack, go!
All right. Uh, I'm I'm taking Dallas. Like Paul said, they're 8-0 at home. I, to be honest, I think
They
the
gotta
refs
lose
are
at
gonna
some
find a.
point.
I think the refs are gonna find a way.
Oh, the
They tried to
refs.
break it last night. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But
I mean, don't you dare start. I could go off on that block punt,
yeah.
that block in the back that went uncalled on that punt return. But anyway,
Yeah.
But all right. Wouldn't be fitting, to keep my Packers agenda going. It's showing Jordan Love. I said in the offseason he was going to show out. He was going to be good. And this young team is going to find some juice and they're going to get into the playoffs. And they did. Happy for that. But Dallas is 8-0 at home. they got to lose at some point. They have to lose at some point. You can't keep your undefeatedness alive long. At one point, you're going to lose. And until Dallas can show that they can actually know the rules of football in the playoffs and actually play up to playoff standard football in the playoffs, not just do it in the regular season, I want to take Green Bay for this in this game. And Green Bay and their young offense in their first playoff game, it might be close. I've said it with all these games that I've taken. It's probably going to be close. It's playoff football. That's what happens. But Green Bay is going to sneak out with this win, and it might have to be a game-winning field goal. Who knows? All right, the Monday night slate game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. Oh, Eagles at Bucks. Sorry, Eagles versus Bucks at home. But who wins this game?
I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Eagles.
oh snap!
Eagles are hobbled.
They
I
are.
don't know the status of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, but holy freaking crap. The Eagles did not look right yesterday, even playing the
They did not.
Giants.
Yikes.
Yeah. And one might say that the Eagles will be looking for revenge after their wild card elimination from 2 years ago when they played Tampa Bay in the first round of the playoffs. But the Eagles, they just don't look right now. They're so injured. And even though Baker Mayfield, he's a little injured himself. I just feel like he's a tough son of a bitch. I think that the Bucks are gonna take this one.
That's gonna be an interesting game. I'm just being honest because this Eagles team just seems like they're limping into it. But I don't know. Once you get that stadium going, you start there might be an Eagles fan song chant breakout in Tampa Bay where all you're hearing is that EAGLES Eagles.
Suck.
Yeah, yeah. And at that point, you're just like the Eagles got all that momentum, and it's looking like it's going to be a great game for Jalen Hurts. He's going to throw it up to Devonta Smith. It's intercepted. Bucks win. Give me the Bucks.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're enjoying your Pat McAfee moments on this show.
I'm
just saying,
enjoying I'm enjoying the power of my state flowing through me right now. I cannot take the Eagles. I
Are
can't.
you going against every team that you chose in the text message? Because I wrote it all down and I have already have scrapped 2 of your picks in this game.
What if
But
I'm
that's
just here
right.
throwing you for a loop, Paul?
I'm enjoying the loop because I'm enjoying the surpriseness of these picks because I'm also going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Eagles do not look like the Eagles. They have looking like they're looking like a bird that just came out of the hatch and they can't fly yet. They haven't found their wings. They lost their wings at some point in the season. Their offense is not looking like the Eagles' generational offense that it looked like last year or at the beginning of the season. And people are saying, yeah, Jalen Hurts, he's the next greatest thing to slice bread right now. Look, the Eagles are in a slump. They're going to the playoffs with this slump. Tampa Bay is coming in hot. They won their division. Baker Mayfield is in Baker Mayfield mode, and he's going to do it in Philly against the Philly faithful in Philly.
Tell you
And
what, Browns
don't grease
fans.
those poles, Philly. Just don't grease them.
Tell you what,
Right.
Browns fans, you're gonna regret passing on Baker for your $230 million man. I can guarantee you that right now. He's much better suited in this state anyway. Fire the cannons. Yes,
Do we
if
pick
neither of
Cincinnati
y'all have
even though it's on?
if
Or nah?
neither of y'all have
Okay.
actually been to the Tampa Bay Stadium, there's a full pirate ship in there. There
We
is,
see it
in
all the
fact.
time on TV. Yeah. We know.
It's so cool when you actually see
Oh,
it.
it's so cool. I know.
Fire them cannons for a playoff win.
Yeah, fire them. I mean, even though the Natty's on, let's just throw it. Let's throw our picks. I mean, we did it last week. Let's refresh everyone's, even though we picked it last week. But really, really, really quick, we got
Yeah, I mean, my pick is starting to look really good right now. 41-yard touchdown run from Donovan Edwards to give Michigan the lead. It was his first touchdown since Penn State, November 11th. Yeah, I think my pick is looking better and better yet.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I'm taking Michigan. I haven't looked at the score or,
That's
watch any
cool.
part of the game, but I'm taking Michigan.
Yeah, I'm taking Michigan to win the Natty as well. I mean, they're Michigan. They're going to find some way to win a football game. They're coached really well with Jim Harbaugh. But really quick, your final takeaways from last night and obviously playoff games heading into this weekend.
Go Bills, baby. Oh, what in the world? What do you hear, bud?
Oh my God, she says go Bills, and then every animal in the house has to go along with it. But
They know. Yeah.
no, I'm gonna be completely honest. We're not done. We are not. I got a feeling we're not done. It's gonna be the first. We're gonna go into this game against Kansas City irate. We're gonna go out there. We're going. Here's what I'm hoping happens. This is my hypothetical agenda, and I'm sorry, you guys, but I don't want it to be where we knock you out in the AFC Championship game, even though most of my fan base is probably gonna want that. I I don't. I don't want to be the ones that knock you out of a Super Bowl. I want to knock Pittsburgh out of a Super Bowl. And unfortunately, that means they have to upset you in the first round without TJ Watt. Odds of that? Probably not. Like Mason Rudolph might have looked great the past couple of weeks. No Matt Canada means they have an offense now. What's the status of what's I just forgot. Is it? Oh yeah, Rasul Douglas. Is he gonna
Yeah.
play or is he kind?
I would assume so.
Yeah,
I
he
would.
said that he would have played, but uh, Dane Jackson said if you're not 100, like just
I
sit out
remember.
again.
Now I remember that.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be back against Pittsburgh. I just don't see Pittsburgh winning. But at the end of the day, if they do, they have to go right back to Baltimore. Oh yeah. Need I remind you who won the first game between the two teams when they were both playing at full strength?
Yeah.
All we have to do on our end is knock out Kansas City. Knock out Kansas City, and we get either the Browns or the Texans, provided Pittsburgh knocks you guys out. If that then happens, Pittsburgh knocks out Baltimore, we take out the winner of Cleveland, Houston. Dolphins are hosting a playoff game, and we're hosting the AFC Championship game against the
Dude,
Steelers.
I love the copium.
It's not
I love,
copium,
I
it's
love the
hopium.
hopium. I love the
It's
hopium.
you gotta let me have it at some time, Jenna. I'm
No.
just it is injected in my veins fully. I want the chance to face and crush Pittsburgh. And I'll be honest, and I've told a bunch of Bills fans this already. I personally don't want to be the team that takes you out of the running for the Super Bowl. I don't. That would actually kill me. Like, of course,
That
it would
would
be
be a
fun.
sad, sad Monday.
It would
Yeah.
be, yeah, at least then you'd feel my pain. I'm kidding.
Mhm.
But
We
at
felt
the end
too
of the
many
day,
pain.
though, at the end of the day, I'm taking Buffalo over Pittsburgh. Your matchup, if you do beat Pittsburgh, two would probably be the winner of, well, it would definitely be the winner of Browns and Texans, provided we beat Kansas City. If not, then it would be, yeah, two wins, 3 wins, and then say 4 wins. Then it would be Houston against Baltimore, and then you'd get the matchup you always wanted. Which, who
Yeah.
knows if the league, for the people that think the league is rigged, what would you legitimately rather see in the playoffs? A matchup between the 6th seeded Miami Dolphins in a rematch against the team that just ripped their hearts out at M&T Bank Stadium? Or would you rather see Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes again? It's like, what I know what I feel like they'd rather see, and that's not the
You're right.
depleted Dolphins against Baltimore. But
Yeah.
and
Oof.
that's kind of how I see. Unless for whatever odd reason, Mike Tomlin finds his old magic that he had for all those plays or all those years and just annihilates Buffalo, which I doubt it. I still doubt it. But I still think it's wait, why
Oh, I'm putting you on blast.
why are you putting me on blast? I'm actually saying Buffalo's going to win.
No, I know. I was putting you on solo layout just to give you a spotlight.
Well, hey, I'll take it. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, Buffalo wins. Buffalo wins, Kansas City loses, Miami wins, and Cleveland wins.
Okay.
And we're gonna have a very fun time in the AFC.
Yeah, for sure.
And all I have to say is just one playoff win for this Miami Dolphins team erases the stench of that Buffalo game
Oh,
entirely.
it does.
All
for
the
sure.
fans that ran away from the team, all the fans that are actively, this is no joke. This is no joke. Talking about replacing Tua Tagovailoa with Zach Wilson. Yes, that's legit. I've seen a couple of those posts today. Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, and some other quarterbacks, they're gonna
Oi,
just they're gonna disappear.
Nah,
oi.
That's legit
that's
though. I've seen a
ridiculous.
couple that are saying Zach
All
Wilson would
right.
fit better in this offense.
No, I mean,
Not at all.
no.
Weird to think that, but one quick final takeaway. Uh Bills have to get their offense going in the playoffs because I think they can win a one-score game. I think a lot of these games in the playoffs will come down to the final score, one-score game. But Bills offense don't it doesn't seem right, the Bills winning a football game with 21 points,
Yeah,
to 14. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't look right. 21 points when you have like 400 plus yards of offense in a game. It just doesn't seem right. They're going to have to fix some things, but, you know, feed Cook, feed Kincaid, feed Shakir, feed Diggs. Allen and Diggs have to get going. They have to get in sync again. But I still think with that all together, I think the Bills offense will get going. Their defense is going to show up big this weekend for a big wild card game on Sunday. Shannon,
God,
any final takeaways before we end?
God, you're lucky TJ Watt's not playing.
Sorry.
I think it's gonna be a really good game. I think that I hope that the offense finds itself again.
You mean it didn't last week or last night? It 100%. You found something. I don't know if it
Yeah,
was Shakir.
but I want to see it for a full 60 minutes. I don't want to see it for just the second half. Um, but yeah, I want to incorporate Shakir, Kincaid. Davis is going to be out, so it's going to open up more opportunities for those guys. I want to see Diggs eat like he did last night.
All I need is
Yeah.
just what. Just give me one Allen arm punt. Just one. Just please give me one, and I'll be happy. I
Okay.
will. I can laugh. Which,
All
hey,
right.
hopefully it's not one that clinches a loss. I'm hoping it clinches a win for y'all.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
All right. Thank you for everyone for tuning in to the Undercovers podcast. We'll be here next week after the Super Wildcard weekend has concluded. We'll also be on right before the Eagles Bucks game, so we've got to make sure it's a quick one.
Yeah.
But I think everything it was said today was perfectly well done. Thank you. Subscribe and like, comment for any future content that you would like us to see. We're in the talks of maybe some side content in the near future. We just gotta get everything set up. So tune in for that. Follow us. Follow each one of these hosts. They all give out great content every day on their social media platforms. All right, so with that concludes the show. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Fins up.